light in the night, and it won't go out. Now I found you. There's a heat so close that I never feel cold. Now I found you. I was alone, out in the dark. Then I saw hollow squares all around. Oh, now the calms call my name every night. Now I found you in the depths, gazing brightly at the neutron star. We share the field, scooping jack cones, leaping to the edges of the night. Oh, I was alone, out in the dark. Then I saw hollow squares all around. Oh, I was alone, out in the dark. Heaven was all around. Oh, let's try together. Let's see the tribes blink. Oh, everyone's a soul on a new path, on a brave line. Feel the engines roll. Let's engage it all. Feel the new ride as we all intertwine. Let's jump together. 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 Let's jump. Let's jump together. Let's jump together. Let's jump together. Let's jump together.
Hello Commanders, my name is Jamie Treacher, and next up you'll be listening to my little rearrangement of the old Frontier Elite 2 main theme. If you'd like to listen to some more of my work, please visit soundcloud.com/Jamie-Treacher. That's JAMIE-TREACHER. Fly safe, and enjoy the show here on Lave Radio.
journey too long, no cargo too small. Profit margins never really mattered at all. We're gonna take the cargo where it's needed today. Super cruising all across the Milky Way. We're taking anything, anytime, anyway. Loading up the teen out to the brim with the rest for the more, for the more, for the more, for the more. Yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the more, for the more, for the more, for the more. Yeah, everybody sing the trucker song. Flossie always seems to crash into the sun. Skibble lights the pilot on the Xbox One. Helping out the free, you know he leads us well. Trucking across the galaxy, now everybody out. For the more, for the more, for the more, for the more. Yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the more, for the more, for the more, for the more. Everybody sing the trucker song. For the more, for the more, for the more. You know just where we're coming from. For the more, for the more, for the more, for the more. Everybody sing the trucker song. So give me a large path that I can land on, and I'll give you cargo and sing you my song. No point 22 light years to go, cruising to a no journey too long, no cargo too small. The profit margins never really mattered at all. We're gonna take the cargo where it's needed today. Super cruising all across the Milky Way. We're taking anything, anytime, anywhere. So shout it out loud, loud. You don't even care. For the more, for the more, for the more, for the more. Yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the more, for the more, for the more. Everybody sing the trucker song. For the more, for the more, for the more. Yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the more, for the more, for the more. Everybody sing the trucker song.
Hello Commanders, this is Station Commander Alan Stroud. The next track is Evasion 2.0. This is the sequel to the original track Evasion from the Elite Lave Revolution album and features on the new Aphelion album, which is also official Elite Dangerous audio drama music. Fly safe, take care and enjoy the show.
Hi, Commander Kumar the Far here, and you're listening to Lave Radio. Up next is a track that I wrote based on a true story. It's called Pirates Took My Spaceship. Now, if you want to listen to more stuff that I've written, you can find that at soundcloud.com/KUMARTHEFFAR-1. Oh crap, the back!
Hello Commanders, my name is Phil Morris, otherwise known as Mindwipe, and next up you're listening to my track Flashback Reimagined. The original version of this was done by Mr. Raphael Gaston and was utilised for the Amiga game Flashback, A Quest for Identity, as it was known in the United States. And I wanted to actually blend a little bit of what Elite Dangerous's style of music would be with a reimagining of that iconic theme tune from that wonderful platformer. If you'd like to listen to more of my work, please visit soundcloud.com/mindwipeuk and also mindwipe.bandcamp.com. Fly safe, Commanders, and enjoy the rest of the show right here on Lave Radio.
dog's got a heart, hasn't he? I'm joking apart, hasn't he? And though I'd be the first to admit this is a little like hell, I'm finding it hard to be really as calm as they tell. I'm reviewing the simulation. Can one system be this tricky all the time? All the trials and tribulations, better find a way to deal with all this crime. Alvin to play and jump at me, pay fines with me, buy go from me and go for me and nag at me, and all the while he'd wag at me the hours that he would take from me, a misery he'd make for me. I think I'd better buy a mug again. This system you can keep. Anyway, we didn't want it. Anyway, we can have any system or world, and I'm starting from now. They ask how to win systems, dear nocturnal boy. So how? I'm reviewing the simulation. I must quickly look up everyone I know. Title people with a station whose ships can make a real impressive show. I'll adopt a wealthy pilot stance and run a fleet of Ferdinands and wave at all the passing ships with friendliness as much as is befitting fellow ne'er-do-well. Good morrow to your dear lad. Gold, I think I'd better buy a mug again. This data, where should it go? Somebody? Who do I know? Nobody. All my dearest companions have always been smugglers and thieves. So at Alvin's behest, they should start turning over new leaves. I'm reviewing the simulation. If you want a boom, you've got to spend a bob. Is it such a humiliation for a trucker to perform an honest job? So, a job I'm getting, possibly. I wonder if the boss will be permanently cross with me, what missions he will give to me. I'll stack a bait and finish late and fix this state. Oh, but wait, I think I'd better buy a mug again. What happens when we hit 70? Expansion time again. At 70, we're bold. The dice have rolled. Who knows which system we will try? Don't worry about credits. I've enough for just one more rebuy. I'm reviewing the simulation. I'm addicted, I shall stay. You'll be seeing no transformation, but it's tiring working hot and every day. I don't want nobody bit for me or made to clean his ship for me. This hot-and life is not for me, it's getting far too hot for me. There is no rebuy screen for me. But who will change the scene for me? Stack missions day by day for me. But who can have the final say like me? I think I better buy a mug again. Journey too long, no cargo too small. Profit margins never really mattered at all. gonna take the cargo where it's needed today. Super cruising all across the Milky Way. We're taking anything, anytime, anywhere. Loading up the teen out to the brim with the rest for the more, for the more, for the more, for the more. Yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the more, for the more, for the more, for the more. Yeah, everybody sing the trucker song. Flossie always seems to crash into the sun. Skibble lies the pilot on the Xbox One. Alvin at the free, you know he leads us well. Trucking across the galaxy, now everybody out. For the more, for the more, for the more, for the more. Yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the more, for the more, for the more, for the more. Everybody sing the trucker song. For the more, for the more, for the more. You know just where we're coming from. For the more, for the more, for the more, for the more. Everybody sing the trucker song. So give me a large path that I can land on, and I'll give you cargo and sing you my song. No point 22 light years to go, cruising to no journey too long, no cargo too small. The profit margins never really mattered at all. We're gonna take the cargo where it's needed today. Super cruising all across the Milky Way. We're taking anything, anytime, anywhere. So shout it out loud, loud. You don't even care. For the more, for the more, for the more, for the more. Yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the more, for the more, for the more. Everybody sing the trucker song. For the more, for the more, for the more. Yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the more, for the more, for the more. Everybody sing the trucker song.
Eddie Lee Wise here. Our family-run business looks after all your sartorial needs. Whether you need something to turn your pink python purple, or you want to wrap your buns up in a nice tight flight suit, my husband Ken can sort you right out. He's an expert at inside leg, and my wife Barbs is a whiz with a sewing machine. Bespoke tarting for you and your ship. Visit Eddie and Sons, plus me daughters, at Lave Station. Right, sir. Cough, please.
Broadcast from an orange sidewinder and hosted by a vending machine technician, it's Lave Radio.
Attention. Would you like to reorder, rate, or read? Would you like pizza?
Space can be lonely. What now?
Greetings, Commanders, and welcome to episode 321 of Lave Radio, the show that likes to talk about the universe of Elite and the fantastic community that surrounds it. I'm your host, Commander Phoenix Defire, Chief Archivist of Lave Station, otherwise known as Colin Ford, and joining me in the Orange Sidewinder bar for this episode, we have our Head of Health and Safety, Commander Edelweiss, that's Ben Moss Woodward.
Don't mind me, I'm just bagging the bot in the background.
We have our Inhuman Resources Director, Commander Shan.
Hello. By the way, I'm looking at the stream, and thankfully we are Teletubby-less this week.
Oh, that's a relief.
Don't remind him. This is a good thing.
Thankfully not. And we also have our Deputy Trade Attaché, Commander Souverine.
What up?
And we also have on tech today, we have Commander Ventura.
Hello.
Hello. So, if you wish, Ben, are we live anywhere in the universe? Sorry, galaxy, not the universe.
The galaxy is a part of the universe, and I am currently lurking outside a Lave station.
Okay, so there we have. There's no Ben bounty tonight, so any kills you do are purely for your own pleasure.
We sanction another kills of Ben, but we're not funding them.
Yes, I just can't believe I just said do live on air. But never mind. If
I can't believe Ben missed it.
As I said, I'm busy bagging the bot. And try saying that 10 times fast.
But if you can't get to Lave Station to blow up Ben, you can also join us in our Twitch chat channel and on Facebook and on YouTube, which you can access through laveradio.com/live. Click on the live chat, or you could just go straight to Twitch at twitch.tv/laveradio. So we've got a lot to get through this week, gentlemen. So if you don't mind, would like to be very quick about what we've been up to this week. So, Ben?
I've been playing Elite, playing Star Citizen, playing Star Wars Squadron, and bagging bots.
There you go. Excellent. Right, Souverine.
I've been putting the band back together. In the late 70s, I was part of a really good rhythm and blues band from in Chicago, and we were so good we could turn goat piss into gasoline. But we all sort of we didn't fall out exactly, but there was a bit of bad blood and there's a few incidents, and we all sort of went our separate ways. And I spent most of the last week rounding them all up, falling into impromptu singing sessions in the street occasionally, which was a bit odd, but quite fun. Doing gigs.
Are you doing one of these things where you go and you know how you get pianos in train stations at random places, and you just basically lurk around the piano and start doing a gig?
A bit like that, quite a lot like that. Yeah,
I've seen things like that. It's kind of fun actually.
It has been really, really good fun. But now I'm back.
I'm getting a bit worried about Sue's Walter Mitty syndrome.
He is Baron Munchausen, isn't he?
It's getting that way, yes. Bull, he's full of it. Right, Shan, what have you been up to this week?
Gaming-wise, in Elite, I've been doing some bounty hunting. Went off to the CG place to collect my CG reward, and the rest of the gaming time has been spent in Night City. In real life, I've had a fairly quiet week this week, really. Eldest Mini Shan, however, went to the local gym, and as part of the Movember charity thing he's been doing, he rode the equivalent of the length of the Thames.
Oh, right.
So that's 120. It's quite a way anyway. It's not just the London bit; it's the whole length of the Thames.
Length of the Thames, which is a longer river than you'd expect.
I thought you said. I thought you meant the width of the Thames for a moment there, and I was like, "Oh, that's rubbish. Mini Shans are crap."
Yeah, it's 215 miles or 346 kilometers.
Impressive.
Wow.
Was he bugling while he did it?
No, that's the youngest mini Shan.
Sorry, I lose track.
You lose track of
Well,
the
you
Shan.
can't count more than 2.
They're like the minions, you know. If you look closely, there are
they are
differences,
like
and they've got slightly different faces, and they're wearing slightly different uniforms. But if you just at a casual glance, they kind of all look the same.
No, at all. And yes, they are like minions. They are my minions. I train them to be my minions. However, they're getting a bit rebellious now and want exotic things like food and
Banana.
I get the feeling that Shan's parenting style is very much how he manages his
NPC crewman.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that. I think there's a bit of Darwinism in play at the Shan. At Shay Shan.
You have been ejected from the Shan household. Mini Shan was not the imposter.
They take 5% of my income. Eject.
I take more than that.
Well,
especially this time of year.
Well,
I've had a Christmas list.
Let's see, what have I been up to this week? Finally got my bike back, so I'm now cycling to work and back. So I'm in a lot of pain tonight. So please don't wind me up.
Did they refit the stabilizers? You keep falling off your bike. So I was wondering if you had stabilizers fitted.
I have been knocked off my bike by someone in a car once. I haven't fallen off it. Jeez.
Can you give us a COVID update, Colin? How the devil is the Rona treating you?
I've kicked it. It's taken 4 weeks to breathe properly. Put it this way. So I'm now back to normal. Apart from the fact that in the last 6 weeks or something, I think I put 1.5 stone on. So I've now got a lot of blubber to get rid of.
Any plans on going to London to make sure you catch this new variant? And so,
no, I'll leave that up to you, Shan. You can catch the new variant and let us know how you manage with it. So
that's really pleasant. I mean, that's nice of you, Colin.
No, I said I'd let you catch it. It's up to you whether or not you want to catch it.
You can lead a Shan to London, but you can't make him catch diseases.
Oh dear. Right, and as far as Elite's concerned, I've managed to get I've decided my main character, or my main commander, is going to go around all the engineers and max out all the engineers. Then I got a cunning plan to try and help the Dark Wheel initiative. And then after that, the other commanders have been doing power play. And my epic commander, which I have decided to call the Whale Oil Beef Hooked. So if you see that commander flying around on a Sidewinder, feel free to blow them up.
Now say it faster in an Irish accent.
I'm not saying that. People can work it out.
When you say all the engineers, are you including the Colonia ones as well?
Well, no, because I don't need the Colonia ones.
Especially,
I know a certain engineer who will be missing you.
As long as he misses me, I'm fine.
Because there's an engineer in Colonia. That's the only place I believe where you can get rank 5 lightweight sensors. I think
it's not sensors; it's something else. It's life support. I think.
I don't need to.
That's super essential upgrade.
Well, it does shave. It does shave half a light year off the life support.
Yeah, look. If you're heading out towards Colonia and the life support goes, I'm sorry, it doesn't matter how lightweight it is. You ain't going to make it to Colonia.
If you are.
Same difference to that, Colin. Someone may get to Bagel Python back with his window blown out.
How?
Yeah, that's astonishing. That is absolutely astonishing. Loads and loads of life support synthesis gubbins.
Yeah.
In theory, what you could do is you could land on the planet because your life support the counter stops, doesn't it, when you leave your ship? So you've then got enough time to collect another full set of materials again to keep you on your journey. So you would get a certain amount, use it jumping without life support, and then go around for as long as you like, and then refresh it. So that's
Precisely
what
that.
Yeah.
I will just take the winter mute for a second. I think there's going to have to be a new Lave Radio drinking rule that whenever I say the word wheel, you have to take a double shot. How does that sound?
Double shot at you.
Sounds dangerous. I think we should. I think every time. Why don't we just say that every time Colin pronounces wheel in a pleasing fashion, everybody takes a big hit of fentanyl.
I'm scared. I don't even know what fentanyl is.
Never mind. Basically,
Well, this section was supposed to be short this week.
The rate this is going, I think I fancy some Rohypnol. Now, anyway, moving on.
Ben.
Right, now, the development news that has been happening this week. Now, we have an awful lot to get through. Well, first off, for those of you who are interested in discussions about Galnet and community goals, there was a interview with community manager, the manager, Arthur told me, on the Burr Pit this week. Did anybody manage to catch that? It's a half an hour long video, or interview rather.
Sadly not.
Yes, I did. Yes, it was great. But it was a great interview. It was a fun interview.
Mm-hmm.
Watch it, but no, it wasn't an info drop.
No, right.
Nothing juicy?
So,
yeah.
No, but I think we've got plenty of juice to come. But not just yet, because there was Ask Me Anything 3, Revenge of the Glyph, to which I think it can be generally said that this one was a little bit of a disappointment.
Yeah, if it was the Revenge of the Glyph, I'd say it was more like Attack of the Clones. No, not Attack. Oh, it was more Episode 1. What was that one called?
Phantom Menace, you mean?
Yeah.
No, it's got to be Last Jedi.
Which Episode 8? What was that one again?
Yeah, that's The Last Jedi.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just a bit sad and depressing and throwing your lightsaber out the window.
It did feel that way. There was no info drops. There was just a lot of feedback.
There was a couple of little bits and bats, but no meat.
Yeah. I mean, it does raise the question. We do appreciate the Ask Me Anythings that they actually turn up, because it shows that we're getting a lot more community engagement than we have. But do you find these Ask Me Anythings actually useful? Anyone?
No.
No, I think it's a flawed concept, really. Like, they're not allowed. Everybody knows. We can all list the top 5 or 10 questions that people want to know. That those are not being answered. The only reason that they're burning questions is because they're not answering them. Yeah. Everything else is a variation of what's your inside leg, what's your cat's name. Nobody cares. It's not. I applaud them for doing it, and I think that they're. And I love Arthur's attitude of, more engagement is good. But really, I don't think they're the right people to do it, because they can't actually tell us anything material.
Yeah.
And B, it's sort of a slightly, the responses that they are obliged to give slightly make the whole thing seem a bit farcical. So I don't want to be too negative, because I don't want to sort of piss on their enthusiasm or dissuade them from doing similar things in the future. And I absolutely applaud them for doing this. But I think possibly that they're the wrong PMAT. Sorry, they're the wrong people. This is the wrong format, and it's the wrong. It's just not the right. It's just not the right situation.
I love the conjunction of people and format to PMAT. I think that works. Yeah. They are the wrong PMAT.
The thing is, though, I think that's true of any gaming AMA. It's more like, ask me anything I'm prepared to give a stock answer for. Any AMA never answers the question that the person really wanted to have answered. It's always a version of what the developers think they can get away with and give as little information as they're allowed.
I agree, but they haven't always been that. They haven't been always been this impoverished in information. Like sometimes, I mean, David Braben did one, and it was fascinating. You can give extra context to information people already have.
No
You
one's
can give
gonna fire
insights.
David Braben.
I don't even think it's that. I think that it's the wrong. You know, even if they did it immediately after Odyssey, it would be better because much less would be embargoed, and they could go into the details behind some of the decisions. I do just think it's a confluence of them not being empowered to give the information, it coming just before they're allowed to talk about it all. Yada yada yada. I don't think the problem is with AMAs in general. I just think it's the wrong format at this time for what they're trying to do.
I mean, Elite Weeks Kaizen has come up with a suggestion, and Ben, you've got something similar as well, haven't you?
Yeah, Kai on his show was saying basically having it open for a few days and then let the devs answer it, and I completely and utterly agree with that. I would say something along the lines of have the thread open from Thursday to Monday's day, and then they've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to collate, get the answers, get real answers from the developers, and then post it on Wednesday, start a new thread on Thursday, rinse and repeat.
That's a really good point. That's a really good question. So somebody made the very, very good observation that the only things that were being answered properly were actually suggestions couched as questions, which is absolutely correct. The one that I asked a couple of weeks ago about the wing beacon that was answered. That was answered. I mean, mine was a suggestion couched as a question. It was, why the hell don't you change the way this is implemented? And they did exactly how a suggestion should be dealt with, which is we'll take this to the devs. So yeah, absolutely, totally agree with that.
Right. Okay then. Well, presently, unless you've been hidden under a rock, there are free arcs to be had just by logging into the game. Yet they did this last year, which is the 12 Days of Christmas, where each day you will get a varying amount of arcs, probably larger amounts towards Christmas itself. So if you log, I've had to spend at least 10 minutes each day going into each of my accounts just to make sure I get all my arcs. I'm glad this is back. What about you guys?
I'm glad it's back, but I'm also bollocks. I'm not going to be able to get the last couple of days because I ain't going to be here. Whatever.
I think it's cool. I think it's really good. I mean, I like it. I like it when they mark various times in the year with stuff in game. It should happen more often.
Okay, well, on to our first bit of really good news. After almost 90 days, they now have announced that the Pulse Wave Analyzer bug, so for all those miners who've had trouble spotting glowing asteroids, a fix will go live on Wednesday the 16th at 11 UTC. It's going to need about 15 minutes of downtime, and I suspect probably a client-side patch. They haven't said exactly what will be entailed, but the fix is on the way. This has taken months to resolve, and they have said it is a direct response. One of the reasons it's taken so long is because of the working practices they've got to do with COVID. If it is a network problem, that's understandable because basically network bugs are probably the hardest ones to track down. See Thargoid Heart. But yeah, good news if you like your mining. And we also have the anniversary stream announcement. Well, now this is the big stream on this Thursday. And for all of you who are putting exclamation marks in the chat room, exclamation mark wheel to they are doing the Twitch drops yet again for this particular stream. Now it's going to be a long stream. Is it starting at midday?
It is, yes. So for those who have to work, then you should have some time afterwards, I think. But this isn't a 24-hour charity stream, is it?
No, it's not. This is the.
So-
I think they did something similar to this last year, because it wasn't the charity stream. They did a long afternoon long stream last year, which they discussed.
So we've had no news on the 24-hour stream.
Mm,
So if you want a Christmas stream, I guess this is the one you go to.
yeah. They've also said that during this stream they will be joined by the special guests, Gareth Hughes from the development team, who will discuss everything combat in Elite Dangerous Odyssey. Now, I'm assuming that this means ground combat.
I think it's going to mean combined, to be honest. And I also think it means we're going to get a developer diary. Definitely before then, possibly even as early as tomorrow.
You don't think they'll actually show the dev diary as part of the stream? Might be one of their unique points. Is the dev
They
diary comes out then.
might, but usually, well, in the past they've done it. Here's the diary. Get excited.
Mhm.
Talk about it with us after. But you're right. They might go and just do it. Put it on and have the stream on, and then a couple of hours later have Gareth come along.
Would they also maybe have the relevant developer come on stream and do a streamed version of the dev diary, and then after the stream is finished, they then put it out as a mail blast to everyone?
They might.
Yeah.
I just think it's going to be before. I really do. And I would not be surprised if it's tomorrow.
I swear, I'm going to take my broken bike wheel, I am going to paint it black, and I'm going to send it to Kai for his dark wheel. I've had enough of this. There, have your bloody dark wheel. Anyway, sorry, it's in the chat. It's in the chat.
To be honest, Colin, I think you should do that. I think that would be really quite funny.
We'll time him out. We can time him out. We can time Kai out in the chat. He's irritating you, Colin.
We can kick Kai from the chat. That's not a problem.
I am not asking you to kick Kai. I'm going to be sending him a dark wheel.
No, he's our elective producer.
So we can't eject him from the airlock.
No.
With or without a spacesuit?
Out.
Shan, do you even have guest spacesuits on your ships?
Well, I have bits of guest spacesuits.
He's got recycled ones. He just scoops out what was left of them.
They come from, yeah. It's
a bit damp on the inside.
A decompression inside a spacesuit is awfully messy, and it takes several washes to get the stains out.
So they are a bit damp on the inside.
Well, bits of gore and spleen and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that
Shan.
little feature in the Mandalorian on Friday.
Actually, there was a. It reminds me of Mythbusters ages ago, where they there was a rumor that people's heads exploded or have exploded inside diving suits. If the air was suddenly, if the hose was kinked when you're in the diving suit, then the reduction in pressure would cause the person's head to explode and whatever inside the diving suit. So they got one of their ballistic gel heads and skeletons and put it in the diving suit and did that. And yes, it did cause everything to explode and become a gooey mush inside the diving suit.
God.
It was pretty gross, actually.
Oh, that is terrifying. I've got a thing about deep water and stuff, and that is absolutely terrifying.
Okay, this is turning into an uplifting episode already.
Well, it's the penultimate one of 2020, so you know what you expect.
Yeah.
Well, the main announcement that happened over the last week was on at the Game Awards, where the Odyssey gameplay reveal trailer happened. Now, obviously, we'll be going into this a little bit, a bit more in depth later, but one of the other things that happened at exactly the same time was we got full details of what's going to be released and when. So
did we?
We did.
Sorry, carry on. I just dispute one of the things you just said. So
Well, I know what you're going to say, but in the first instance, there are going to be two options available to commanders, unless, of course, you've got the LEP, which the Lifetime Expansion Pack, because that has been officially announced that everybody who's got one of those will be getting one of these packs. But the basic Elite Dangerous Odyssey pack will cost you £29 or $40 or €34.99. That includes the Odyssey expansion and an exclusive Pioneer suit skin. Thumbs up.
a shoot me skin.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I agree. Yeah, you know you're playing an
Shoot
MMO when.
Does it suit you, sir?
It's just like you well, in my time of playing other MMOs, and I'm not. It's been quite a few. Is that the people who were walking around with special pre-launch goodies? Well, in open,
I get you.
you get the first one you get. You know, you think, you so and so, you're the first one I'll get.
It's like going after people who've got the Cobra Mark IV because it's really easy because it's a crap ship.
Yeah, I love my Cobra Mark IV.
I go after Cobra Mark IVs because I feel sorry for the person who's flying them and want to put them out of their misery.
It's a good ship. I maintain that the Cobra Mark IV is a reasonable ship.
It's a good ship if you're suicidal.
It's not. It's got more larger and more flexible internal compartments than any other small ship.
Yes,
maxed out, you can put more in a Cobra Mark IV than you can in any other small ship, and it is even more than quite a few medium ships. And they are quite flexible. Go on, sorry.
What you're saying then, Sue, is the Cobra Mark IV is the ship Etienne Dawn would fly.
I mean, he probably would because he's a discerning gentleman. He doesn't just take any occupied. Oh no, wait.
That's a new definition of the word discerning, as I'm not unaware of. Yes. So pack one, or rather the basic pack, that's that one. There's another one, the Elite Dangerous Odyssey one, Deluxe Alpha Expansion Pack option. Now this is the one that Lifetime Expansion Pack owners will be getting. That is £40 or $54.99 or €46.99. That includes the Odyssey expansion, the official digital soundtrack, so we've got new music coming in, again, the exclusive Pioneer suit skin, and Alpha Access, with more details about Alpha Access to follow in the new year. So it looks like we're going to get an Alpha early in the year, I guess.
Question I have around the Alpha Access, though, and again, we'll have to wait and see. But what is the purpose of the Alpha? Is the purpose of the Alpha is just basically to let people have a go and see what they think, and basically it's a marketing exercise? Or is the Alpha going to be longer to actually give people a chance to bug test it, feedback on gameplay and mechanics, and which then gives them time to take that feedback into account prior to launch? Because the two alphas are very, very different. Because when we first had the Elite, the first Elite, there was an extended alpha and an extended gamma that allowed people to feedback and give them time to tweak the game and the mechanics and the play like that. Whereas in subsequent updates, they've been quite short betas, and it was purely a have a look-see, and everything else is in stone.
Well, yeah, that's the. I mean, there'll be certain things in the game that will be set in stone, but I think in the Alpha Access there will be enough flexibility to fix minor annoyances. But if we happen to come across a major flaw, I don't think they'd be able to fix it, because that's the issues that we've had before. I mean, it all depends on how long this alpha is going to be.
I heard that open letters are very effective anti. Actually, never mind. I was about to be catty. Ignore me.
I was just going to say, moaning at people on live streams every time they're on is also effective.
Are you saying that? open letters are ineffective unless they're edited properly.
exactly that. Yeah. I suppose my point was that possibly Frontier have calculated that doing a beta, even if it's short, is a way to defang people who demand betas in open letters potentially. I don't know.
Well, this is the thing, because they've called it an alpha, which
that's
obviously
weird. That is strange.
It's not a beta.
Well, they've called it both an alpha. They've called it alpha, and they've also called it beta in the same bloody thing.
I mean, it's. I read it as though there would be both, which I find very strange.
I don't think there's going to be both. It's going to be a public beta, essentially, that people are paying access for, and it's a marketing tool. I desperately hope it'll be a long one.
You do, then. Sorry.
Pardon?
I'm sure you do think it's a lot. I hope it's a long one. Anyway,
someone's been at Cyberpunk, haven't they? They've been modifying your Cyberpunk, haven't you?
I think actually the reason for mentioning both is there will be a deluxe alpha only, and then that will be your taster, and then there'll be a more public beta afterwards. Because in other major releases, they've always had two betas, haven't they? They've always had like a first beta and a second beta, with a gap in between. So I think maybe they'll call it alpha and then the more public beta.
Yeah, Silverine, you got something to add?
The trailer, the gameplay trailer that they showed at the Game Awards was the little caveat at the bottom was in-game alpha footage. I think I'm pretty sure it said alpha at the bottom. If that's the case, then it is.
It doesn't move in the video. It just says in-game footage.
Oh, ignore me then.
Or in-engine footage or something.
Never mind. I was going to say that if that was taken in an alpha, then it is conceivable they'd let players into the same build and call it alpha, and then take their feedback into account, and then a week later throw up another one that was a beta. But never mind.
Now, there was something that turned up on the Steam page that was quickly taken down, but it briefly said that the release date would be the 21st of April 2021, to which Frontier, or the legendary Stephen Benedetti, has said that a reminder, unless we announce a date, I won't believe anything you see elsewhere. So that was put up and then taken down.
Unless we announce a date, you should not believe any dates that we publish on our official platforms.
It went on to announce, you can quote me in saying, unless we announce the release date officially, do not believe anything you see from other sources. Thanks. So that may have been a slight slip. Unless, of course, they are releasing the alpha, and the beta process takes that long that the actual proper Odyssey is released then in April.
Only problem with April is it's not Q1, and they have said Q1.
Yeah, but then again, they could also say it's been released, kind of. Because I remember when they went to Gamma, I was waiting. In the original Kickstarter, when they went to Gamma, we all started again as we always did after a wipe, and then we were expecting the whole game to be wiped again when it was released properly. And then it turned out Michael Brooks said, "No, we're not going to do another wipe," and I was gutted because basically I thought, right, I'm not going to bother this time. I'm going to wait till the wipe and then start playing properly. But it turned out I lost 2-3 weeks. Well, everybody else was managing to keep their progress, and I was fuming over that.
Oh, that was great. That was great. I was stacking up with rare goods for 2 weeks, and yeah. Anyway, on the date side, and also the a little bit controversially, if I'm allowed to be a bit controversial, about the lifetime expansion pack. If you brought the lifetime expansion pack for Horizons, you are, by my calculations, 40 quid out of pocket.
Yeah, but that we haven't actually had the rest of the stuff coming up yet.
Well, at the moment. But anyway, on the date, the reason why I don't think it's the 21st of April is because when you submit something to Steam, in the same way as you used to when shops used to sell boxes of games, the developer tells the retailer about, they give a rough finger in the air date to say, well, in this month, you're going to need to make room for this game. How many copies do you want? So it's a retail thing talking about reserving shelf space for a product. And I believe Steam is the same. You can't just submit a game to Steam with an open-ended release date internally to Steam. You have to give it an approximate date just to submit it. So I think what you saw here was a placeholder date in Steam and nothing more, nothing less.
Right, fair enough then. We'll like I said, we'll just take it how it comes. Now the next thing up was obviously we had a deluxe version being the sort of the LEP being posted, but there was a lot of upset about the fact that you couldn't seem to get the upgrade on the Frontier store. Now this has been fixed because it suddenly appeared on the Frontier store. So it's not only on Steam, you can actually, if you don't have Elite Dangerous on Steam, it's now available, the upgrades are available on the Frontier store. Because I think a lot of people were confused.
I just want to add to that point. I think Frontier it's a bit weird at the moment, actually, because Frontier they're advertising and they're pushing people from, I think it's EliteDangerous.com to the Steam page, which is kind of weird. And all of our skins are available on DLC.EliteDangerous.com or DLC.Frontier or something like that. But you can buy the game and the expansion on store.frontier.net or something like that, I think it is. I can't remember the actual URL, don't quote me. But the DLC Elite Dangerous one has the DLC, that's fair enough. Steam has its thing, and the actual game is on the main Frontier one, where you buy Planet Coaster and everything like that. And they're not even... Frontier don't even seem to be linking and pimping their own store. They seem to be pushing everything towards the Steam store, which I find very interesting, because obviously Steam takes a fairly big cut out of their sales.
That is really interesting.
So, you had something else about...
I would... basically, it's about the release date. So I have the strong impression from interactions with Frontier that they don't actually know what the release date is yet. I also think that when they've said that this is the biggest update the game's ever had. When they've done quite big updates in the past, I'm thinking the chunkier Horizons ones, the beta periods have sometimes lasted quite a long time, upwards of a month. They're talking about alpha and they're talking about beta, and the phrasing is all, we'll have more information in the new year. And another comment said, another comment from one of the CMs was, you'll get more information over the coming months plural. All of that taken together, to me, with the April 21st release date that was briefly shown on Steam, says that they are targeting a late April release. Also, Peter Wotherspoon said that, told me that, which was news to me, that Frontier's financial year runs May to May, or May to June or whatever, which I had no idea of, and does potentially mean that there wouldn't be the kind of impact of the release falling into mid or late April that we thought there might. So all of that together says to me that what we're probably looking at is an alpha in or a sort of early access beta in sort of late Jan, early Feb, another beta towards late Feb, March, and then aiming for a late April release for the game itself. And that would still technically just about be early 2021 if you squint.
Right. Well, on on top of all this, there has been a Polygon article about Odyssey, as provided by Charlie Hall. It seems Polygon's resident elite expert. And it's probably going to go into the exact same details that we're all going to be chatting about in a bit. So I think we'll park the rest of this discussion for the moment, because there's an awful lot to get into for the discussion later on. So the in-game events which have been happening this week is we now have a new CG, or a CG in progress rather, with the Sirius Corporation trying to establish Marlinist colonies. Again, this is the Marlinists, basically the flashpoint between the Empire and the Federation at the moment, and the Sirius Corporation have stepped in and said, right, okay, how about we take these troublesome Marlinist colonists and give them their own planets, and we're needing some materials in order to do that. So, guys, what do you think about the way this looks like it's a way to resolve a potential flashpoint between the Empire and the Federation? Do you think it's been handled right, or would you have preferred a good old-fashioned war?
I was always surprised that war was. It felt a bit of a reheat, really. The 2017 story was all about the rattling of sabers between the Empire and the Federation, and the prospect of another war felt a little bit like reheating yesterday's lunch. So I wasn't surprised that that Frontier
back down.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't surprised when they threw an ulterior route in, an alternative route. Sorry.
At the risk of putting a tinfoil hat on my head, it makes life a lot easier if you keep all the saber rattling in narrative rather than, oh shit, we suddenly need to spawn a war going on between the Feds and the Empires, and somehow have fights going on all over the place and things.
It would be glorious.
It would be
And
glorious.
it still could become glorious, but yeah,
it would be so much fun. God, it would be brilliant. Imagine a giant, protracted, full-on war where they took aggregate player action to determine which systems fell and which stood. It would be so brilliant.
Isn't this sort of what the BGS/Power Play are meant to be doing?
Well, yeah, but that's all indirect, isn't it? The amount of direct PvP that goes on. The amount. Well, no, not necessarily. It would be.
You're thinking, okay, I see. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, actually, probably the best approach would be to do both at the same time. Have direct and indirect PvP. I mean, this is a completely different conversation. I think it would be really, really cool to have both. To have
all pushes all the time.
Yeah, so if you sign up for the CG for the Federation, you're flagged as a Federation player, and then anybody killing you for the Empire.
This is getting a bit into Kai's PvP discussion, really, isn't it?
Slightly, yeah. I think it would be. I think it would be a really brilliant sort of event to run for 6 months in the game, at least.
Tuplex in chat had a really good suggestion, and I endorse this. They said, how about putting them all in one place and then blow it up?
Can we chuck in the British government into that as well?
I'm not being political this week, but yeah. So if you want the Pyrrhic end, we'll let them set a colony up and then just come in and just blow it all up and get rid of the problem.
Thargoids, look here.
Yeah, they're the Thargoid meat shield. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, just toss them in there and let them have a happy colony, and then just bang. It's the Babylon 5 approach, isn't it? It's a sort of thing Babylon 5 would do.
I doubt the Marlinists would feel that way. Yeah. I mean, there is a possibility there that has been suggested by by Kai again, that this could be the possibility for a new power play leader.
Imagine you, elective producer.
Yes, little power play, new power play leader with a couple of systems to start with. I mean, admittedly, again, Yes, Shan advises in favour of genocide. Take a drink.
I can't see them adding another power play leader. I mean, they've surprised me before, but given the temperature of that particular potato, I really don't think that the Frontier are in any mood to get stuck into rejigging power play before they actually do a thorough overhaul.
No, it's my opinion that you're probably looking at late next year before they get round to fixing other parts of the game. It's going to be the focus. Odyssey is going to be the focus for the first 6 months, and I don't think anything else will be done. But that's another thing to discuss about at another time. The other interesting little item that's coming in the game is there is a new outpost coming at the roof of space. So at the very top of the galaxy, there's a whole load of little systems that you can get to. And if you do manage to get up there, the views are absolutely fantastic because you can look down and see practically the whole galaxy spread out in front of you.
This is the outpost.
Yeah, this is the
Not
outpost.
station. Not a station.
Well, that's what I said, wasn't it? An outpost is planned for the roof of space.
Well, the reason why I'm saying it is if it's an outpost, people who turn up in their Explorer Condors are going to be really upset.
Oh, there'll be plenty of fleet carriers around there, but before you know it. But I must admit, when you actually do get up that high and you look down, you do half expect to see sort of 4 elephants and a turtle.
It is stunning. I love the view from up there. It's absolutely wonderful.
Because there's a couple of Roof of the World, isn't there? There was one where it's a one-way trip. So basically, you jump at a neutron star, and that gets you. Well, it was a one-way trip into fleet carriers, but basically, you there's a jump you have to make from the neutron star to get there, but it means there's no way back. So you have to self-destruct to get back to the bubble. And I believe it is also the spot where some crafty so-and-so wrote a support ticket to Frontier and said, "Oh, I've got here and I'm stuck. Can you move me back, please?" So they actually managed to get the first discovered tag on this ungettable.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that.
Is that the place, or is it a different place?
I think it's actually a different place. I remember Michael Brooks actually saying that he was going to put stars in there so people could get up that high. But that was a long time ago.
I love Michael Brooks. I love him. He's my spirit animal.
We do miss Michael.
Just I love Dev saying things like that. Just so good to hear.
Yeah, so I guess he's a Wookiee basically.
What?
You have a Wookiee. Michael Brooks looks like a Wookiee, so you have a Wookiee as a spirit animal.
Nice.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, he also owns a very large collection of axes. I don't know how how he's going to react next time he sees you at LaveCon, Ben.
And armor.
Well, there was there's a final bit of Galnet news which carries on with this storyline about the hostile takeover bid of Core Dynamics over Lakon. Now, last week, Lakon discounted a lot of their ships, apparently to generate funds so that they could fight off this takeover bid by Core Dynamics, to which Core Dynamics had done the same, and they have cut the prices on all of on a lot of their ships, including the Eagle, the Vulture, and a lot of the Federal Navy ships that are hidden behind the paywall. So they're 30% cheaper, and this will be continuing until the 30th of December. So if you like...
I don't think.
By paywall, you mean rank wall?
Rank wall, yes. That's paywall, yeah.
Yeah, paywalls are slightly different things.
Yes, I know, but I have to be very careful when
it's an paywall, isn't it?
Yeah, it can be a paywall because you can donate a lot of money to get your rank up.
True.
So I'm making sure my pronunciation is correct for all that.
You don't want to confuse your R with your W's.
No, yeah, having a slight affliction like Jonathan Ross might make things a little bit embarrassing. Again, no newsletter this week because it's every other week. And there was a store alert of I think it was the adder this week. So Yeah.
Door alert!
Right. Okay.
Super, got excited by that.
I know.
I don't think it is. I don't think it would be right or proper to let a store alert go untrumpeted.
Oh. I
But you're
see.
blowing your own trumpet.
No, I'm not.
Are we back to
I'm blowing.
Are we back to
door
Cyberpunk again?
alert.
You're blowing Ben's trumpet.
Yes, that is precisely what I'm doing. Yes.
Cyberpunk, the only game that allows you to blow your own trumpet. Right, let's move on before Ben gets excited. Right, we're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back with our main discussion of obviously that video and the pictures and breakdown that was released by Frontier earlier in the week.
Choose life, choose a ship, choose a career, choose a cargo, choose a fucking big ship, choose palladium, gold and electrical tin openers. Choose good health, low cholesterol and ship insurance, choose fixed interest loan repayments, choose a space station, choose your friends. Choose leisure wear and matching luggage, choose a paint job and hire purchase in a range of fucking colours. Choose decals, exploration, and wondering where the f*** you are on a Sunday morning. Choose sitting in that chair, running mind-numbing, spirit-crushing trade routes, stuffing f***ing junk food in your mouth. And choose rotting away at the end of it all, pissing your last in the void with no one out there to hear you bury or do anything as you drift away in cold space. Until some comes along to steal your ship, your cargo, and your clothes, leaving your bones floating out in space. Choose your future. Choose life. But why would I want to do a thing like that? I choose not to choose life. I chose something else. And the reasons? There are no reasons. Who needs reasons when you've got onion head?
You've flown ships at max speed. You've felt the power of the 30 megawatt mining laser. You've experienced the efficiency of the MB4 mining machine.
Wow.
But it leaves every hardcore miner with just one question.
Why can't I get a shave that's that fast, close, and efficient?
Introducing the Saracen MB5 shaving drone.
It's so smooth.
Combining the power of a mining laser with the convenience of a drone.
It's like every hair is targeted by a fighter and destroyed.
Saracen's patented shaving drone attaches to your face at the start of the day. Leave it to do its work, and when you come back to check, your face is shaved.
He's so smooth.
It's like I'm mining my face.
The Saracen MB5 shaving drone.
Now I feel manly.
Saracen Shaving, making shaving an unnecessary adventure.
The Federal Navy. We want you for Adventures Unlimited.
Just last week I was mixing Sidewinder slammers at a seedy space bar. I wasn't even pilot registered. And now I have a ship and a basic starting mission for the Federal Navy.
Owing to recent actions in the Lave region, the Federal Navy now seeks to recruit another 1,000 entry-level pilots. We need you to add your strength to our military machine.
I'm going to see the galaxy.
We have missions for all pilots, regardless of combat experience or flight hours. Come and talk to us and we'll get you on the military ladder. Join the Federal Navy. Make a real pilot of yourself, or die trying.
Wait, what's that? Is that a ship coming? Are they looking for me? What do they?
And welcome back. Now, obviously, at the Video Game Awards, there was a video, a gameplay video of Odyssey, which was the first time we've actually seen them claim in-game footage, not alpha test, actual in-game footage. So I'm going to go around the rest of the guys and see what the reaction was to it and their first impressions. So who'd like to go first?
Yeah, I'll go on then.
Okay then, Shan. Here we go.
I've kind of learned over the years not to judge a game by its trailer, so I'm going to be talking purely about the trailer, not about what Odyssey could be at the moment. And it looked really, really pretty. You know, it looked. Some of the graphics on it were absolutely stunning. I'm a big. If I was looking at it for the first time and I didn't know anything about Elite, from the gameplay they showed on the trailer, I thought Elite would have been like a Halo or a Star Citizen clone. I didn't think it put across what Elite was about particularly well. So graphically very good, very pretty, but I think it only had like 20 seconds of first-person shooting. And if I was watching that, it's kind of what I would think the game was all about. So, yeah, I think the trailer just showed it would be an FPS. It didn't show anything deeper than that.
Right, interesting.
I guess I'll come in and do a direct response to Shan's comment and say you got to remember the audience that this is going out at. You know, the audience is obviously aimed at people who potentially don't know anything about Elite Dangerous and do like Halo, and they want, you know, they're aiming it at that kind of person who to bring in the new blood and things like that into the game. Possibly you could say it's a bit of a bait and switch.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see about that, and we're gonna have to obviously go and get a full, almost like Elite Dangerous Odyssey advert where you've got the space, you've got the SRV, you've got the exploring, you've got the space combat, you've got the mining, and you can maybe do it all on first as well. Maybe there will be a real. This is the, you know, you've got the teaser trailer, blah blah. This is the actual Odyssey trailer.
Yeah.
Where it does show all the things. Or maybe they won't, who knows.
I mean, to help me formulate what the audience was, I asked the mini Shans, because they don't know much about Elite at all.
Yeah.
Other than I play it a lot and whatnot. So I said, have a look at that trailer and tell me what it says to you.
Mm-hmm.
And eldest mini Shan, his first reaction when he saw the base was, "Ooh, base building," and then it was, and he said, "Oh, it's like Battlefield in space, it's FPS," and the youngest mini Shan said, his response was the same. "Oh, it's an FPS. It's like Call of Duty with spaceships." And if that was the audience, I'm just kind of a bit concerned about what if that is what Odyssey is? What if it is Call of Duty in space?
Right. Okay. Sovereign.
I think that is nonsense. I think that the trailer, less than a third of it was given over to FPS. The entirety of the rest of it was planetary approach and walking on planets. I think the trailer did a good job of demonstrating that what the experience that Elite Dangerous is going to convey is fly a spaceship, land on a planet dynamically, get out, walk, shoot people, and that fundamental experience to the freeform planetary landings and exploration is core to the Kickstarter promise, and it's actually and basically that's the message of the trailer. I loved it. I thought it was really wonderful. I don't think much of it was new. The the landscapes on the icy planet were particularly stunning. I was really, really struck by how much better the planets look in Odyssey than they do in the live build at the moment. The icy planets in particular in the live build look like PlayStation 2 games compared to the screenshots coming from Odyssey. I think we should be, even if you're not planning on getting Odyssey, I think the degree to which we'll see ice planets improve is really, really exciting. I thought the FPS looked really good. Lots of tracers I couldn't help noticing. Like it looked like loads of beams flying across the screen. I don't know how normal that is for first-person shooters. I thought the gunplay looked pretty solid. I've always been interested in walking around for Elite primarily as a way to give context to the spaceships. If you can walk around your spaceship and you can look at it from the outside and you can explore the inside, it makes the whole thing feel a bit more like a place rather than just a vehicle, and it makes it feel a bit more real than simply being your avatar in the game world. So I've always been pretty relaxed to first person shooter aspect as an addition to the game. Got to say, that looks really smart. It looks really polished. As Shan says, you can't tell much from a trailer, and they can often be very misleading. But I thought that as first-person shooter footage goes, that looked pretty exciting. I think in terms of who it was aimed at, I think Elite Dangerous is now 6 years old. Most people who play video games probably know that Elite Dangerous is a space sim. Frontier, therefore, are primarily interested in. I mean, from their point of view, people who are interested in space sims probably already own Elite Dangerous or have already written it off. Given that it's been £4 or £5 at various points over the last 3 years, several times, it's heavily discounted 3 or 4 times a year. Given that, it is reasonable to assume that most people probably own it or have considered owning it, or at least have read the Steam page. Therefore, it doesn't surprise me that Frontier didn't spend their allocated game convention time selling a space sim. They demonstrated what the experience would offer in terms of the freeform landings, but primarily this is about what's coming, which is the first-person shooter aspect. It does make perfect sense as well if you're trying to broaden the appeal of a 6-year-old game by adding an entirely new theatre of gameplay to it, which is exactly what Frontier are doing. It makes sense to focus on that so you can attract people who like those games. I know quite a few people who really like first-person shooters and aren't particularly bothered about space sim sandboxes. It's designed to appeal to those people. If you were going to buy a space sim, you'd probably already have considered Elite.
Right. Okay. Yes, Shan, your turn.
Yeah. Sorry, Steve. As I said, I'm judging it by the trailer, and this is purely off the top of my head when I saw it. I think a better trailer would have. This is purely. Off the top of my head, an example. What I would have done is I would have shown a picture of Earth, so that immediately showed the player, oh, it's got Earth in it. I would then zoom out to the galactic map. I would then zoom into somewhere around the core, and I would then have a ship landing on a planet in the core. Then you have your people walking across. They then get out their Dyson multi-tool, scan an ancient ruin or a Thargoid ruin or something, and then switch to the gunplay where they're then fighting other players. Because then it says, well, what's this ruin? What are they scanning? What else is there? What is it? What they're doing? Why? And it just kind of leads to thinking, oh, there's stuff to do. There's scanning. There's these aliens, and it just seems to be a deeper trailer than lots of very pretty animation with 20 seconds of Halo.
Right. Ben, do you want to just jump in there then?
Something I was just thinking about actually is, obviously on Steam or on the PC, it's been anywhere from £30 down to free.
Yes, that's right.
Does anyone know actually, has it gone for £4 or £5 on the Xbox or the PlayStation, or has it always remained at full price?
That's a great question.
Oh, that's interesting because I don't know.
I don't know either. So, if any of our Xbox or PlayStation, if any of our console commanders could let us know that in Twitch or something like that, that'd be really interesting actually, because I don't know if it's gone down that low or if it's only on the PC. Not that it particularly matters, I guess. But still. And I also think, just responding to Shan, as I said earlier, we're going to get. This is another. How many trailers do we get? This is not the definitive trailer.
No, this is a show off. Look, guys, this is what
Yeah.
it's going to look like in game. They've made the point over and over again that this is actual in game footage. It's not alpha footage anymore. This is how it's going to look.
Yeah, I mean the entire of the video basically saying in-game footage.
Yeah, I mean my reaction to it was, I was up late that night with Commander Ascorbius and company over at the broadcast, and we were all having a good laugh at the awards shows until this came on. And as soon as this came on, we just went silent. It was it was jaw dropping to see the vistas. It's far superior to what we've seen before.
Oh yeah, it looks beautiful.
And on the basis of this trailer alone, I know that Scorbius went and bought the alpha on Steam, and of course got hit by that horrible bug, which killed your basic game for a day. Which
I don't understand how they
thankfully
managed to do
sorted
that.
out.
Anyway,
However,
by the way, Colin
yeah.
Wintermeat is confirming that. Well, as far as he remembers, it was for £5 on the Xbox recently.
Well, there you go. So
it
it has been
been
discounted on the consoles as well. But one interesting thing that I thought, one criticism that I do have about this is the fact I understand why they used David Bowie's Space Oddity, because basically it matches the tone of the video. The problem was, as soon as that started playing, a lot of people who were watching the Game Awards and were restreaming it out and giving reactions to the whole thing, they got hit by DRMs, which I thought that was actually a bad move, because basically
Don't other adverts have those things?
No, it's all their own music. There isn't any. Now the problem was that a lot of these Twitch streamers were quite impressed with the actual graphics, and they were wondering what this was about, because obviously they hadn't seen Elite Dangerous before.
Yes.
But as soon as the Bowie music kicked in, they had to basically cut their feed. Otherwise, they could.
Stuart GT saying that the Game Awards was full of DMCA copyright music.
I mean, you could just mute the footage.
Yeah, I know you could just mute the footage, but this one was particularly notorious.
Yeah, I thought it was a nice. It was a nice touch for me. It was. It felt very, as trailers go, it felt very British. It was. I don't know. I thought it was thematically appropriate and had a bit more personality than most. Trailers.
Beetlejude is sharing something interesting with us. So I was going to say sharing her age, but I'm not even going to go there. But Beetlejude saying, "I want the moon landing." Space Oddity rather was used by the BBC back in '69 for the moon landings. So she's suspecting that by having Space Oddity as the music, then maybe dropping us a little bit of a hint.
How was she able to do that? Because I thought it came out in 1972.
You probably know this better than I do.
A hint of what?
The David Bowie thing came out in 1972.
Colin, you were alive in 1972. Can you say that?
Love you, Jude. And Beetlejude has now told me to F off. That's not my age.
I'm quite right too.
And very justifiable.
Yeah, I mean the issue that the point I was trying to make was the fact that these Twitch streamers and influencers were impressed, but basically as soon as they heard the music, they knew that they weren't going to be interested in going into this any further, because basically they've just been DRM'd.
Yeah, gaming awards would be fine because presumably they're paid for the rights and blah blah blah. But if you're
Well,
a
yeah, the gaming rewards were fine, but you've also got to remember that these
if you're a
guys
streamer,
are
this is
streaming
stuff.
it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So basically, they're going to get hit by anything that comes out, and yeah, I think that was a bit of a misstep. But as far as the actual video was concerned, I was really impressed, and there is an awful lot to unpack in there. We've got other streams and other podcasts have gone through it frame by frame, and yeah, that's always interesting to go. But I think this is not the place for it here.
I was
So
watching Crash on Friday, who was going it stream by stream, and Crash looked at some of the lighting around the fire and things, and his view was it wasn't using ray tracing or DLSS or anything like that in the video that showed. Not to say it won't have it in, but if you're going to go out and buy a 3080 or something for ray tracing and stuff like that for Odyssey,
Hey,
I
Shan,
would.
be careful. Nvidia will ban you.
What?
Nvidia will block you. They're like, sorry, Shan, you don't believe in ray tracing. We'll take our card back.
Well, they can prize it out of my cold dead hand.
By the way, Colin, I hate to say this, but you've been schooled by several people.
I have. I put my hands up.
Yeah.
Hands up. Yes, it was recorded on the 20th of June, 1969.
Maybe that's 1972 is when you first heard it, Colin.
I would have been one.
So you probably did hear it then.
I mean, you had it.
Yes.
Yeah.
People forget that I'm actually a lot older than I am.
I don't think anybody forgets that, Colin.
Right.
I'm kidding.
Dear. Anyway, so you're making me lose the thread here, as usual. Right.
One thing I did think, sorry, is we're going to get an awful lot of very short female characters in Odyssey.
You do?
Why is that, Shan? Tell us why we will get lots and lots of short female characters.
Because if you are fighting against other players, you want a smaller character as possible.
Oh, the odd job syndrome. The odd
So
job
they can't be
syndrome.
hit as much. So they can't be hit.
Why female?
Because they
Generally narrower hitboxes.
Yeah, because the hitboxes. Yeah.
Huh. I did not know that. That's fascinating.
I mean, some places just give everyone the same hitbox. It's just invisible. But,
Because if you look at the trailer, when they have the shot of the male and the female in the spacesuit as the Cobra goes overhead, there's a significant height difference between
That's
the two.
true. Yeah, that is true. That is a good point. Interesting. I think people overestimate the. Personally, I don't give a crap about what my hitbox is. I think not everybody is interested in Elite as a primarily multiplayer experience, and two, a lot of people view immersion and roleplay as more exciting and interesting than min-maxing or performance or optimization. So I think some people might be like, "Oh, I need to make sure my hitbox is as small as it can possibly be," but other people might be like, "Well, I don't really fancy role-playing a dwarf. I think I'll just play as I normally do."
I don't care what my hitbox is. I've got big boobs.
Yeah, I guess my point more broadly is that people sometimes put too much. People sometimes overthink things like implied advantages given by certain things, and actually, I think the constituency of players who think like that are not the majority.
I now realise how Frodo and Sam were able to get rid of the ring. Their hitboxes were too small.
Is that how come Gollum got it off Frodo then? His hitbox is even smaller than
Even
Frodo.
smaller. Oh dear. You know when things have gone bad when you start making Lord of the Rings references in the space game. Right. Anyway, moving on from the video, Frontier also gave us a breakdown of the new HUD that comes with it. So I'm going to ask our technician to put up our first slide, if you like. All of a sudden, I feel like I'm doing a COVID briefing.
Brief us on these screenshots, Colin.
Well,
So, Colin, does this screenshot indicate the test and trace facility of Frontier is not really well class?
I think if Frontier, I've got more confidence in a test and trace system by Frontier than any other. Having had experience of it.
It traced you, didn't it? And you had your test and trace done in less than a day, wasn't it?
Yeah, the test wasn't the problem. The tracing was. We were having 6 phone calls a day, all asking where we were, because everyone in the family had it. Each one was notified as a separate incident, and they kept on phoning us up all the time.
Caring for you. Just show you how much you cared, Colin.
Honestly, that Excel spreadsheet must have been sort of burning up, but never mind.
Anyway.
Right, the picture that we've got up at the moment, that is the third picture which they've got on the breakdown. This one's quite interesting because it points out at the top left-hand corner. You'll notice that they've got a little what looks like scales, judgment scales. Now that apparently is your active player bounty. So this one will demonstrate that actually you're wanted here. And further down, there'll be on the left-hand side, you see a what can only be described as an authority level. So that would be kind of like the access level you've got in a base. And further down from that is your actual health, which is the green plus. Now, around the green plus, you'll notice that there are 3 rings, which is basically what looks like shields. And next to that, you've got what looks like power. And also oxygen. I mean, what is your impression of this HUD to begin with?
No pips.
Yeah, no pips. What I think is going to be interesting, though, is we've got the first thing, which looks to me like maybe either night vision or your torch thing or something like that. Then you've got your Tigger jump pack. Then I think the next thing next to that's going to be maybe shields or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. What's that middle one actually? It's like a little electrical system. The one next to that's going to be shields, and the one next to that's going to be.
Maybe that's recharge. Maybe you find sockets that you can plug yourself into.
The interesting thing is the use of the radar. I'm just curious how that will work, because won't it? Yeah, how's that radar going to work? Because presumably that makes ambushing people quite difficult.
Possibly, but I mean, why not?
Well, they have said that there's going to be stealth elements involved. Maybe you don't appear on the radar if you switched off all your electrics.
That'll be interesting, actually, if your heat generation or something like that is tied in.
Yeah.
Like in the main game. But I think I like how this is showing us what is going to be using up our power.
It wouldn't surprise me if the power use of your suit generated your signature, and the proximity at which your blip appears on the radar as a function of your suit's power signature, which would mean that running stealth builds for FPS would mean lighter suits, lower power consumption, possibly running without shields. That would be quite exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also you wouldn't appear on the radar. So
yeah.
It's also interesting to see there are triangles and squares on the radar screen.
The hollow triangle, not on this one, but yeah, there are
on the later
on. There are hollow
triangles.
A good point.
Yeah,
these are humans.
I actually would quite like Elite to scrap the difference between NPCs and players on the HUD. I think you'd see a lot fewer complaints about griefing if players had no idea whether it was other players who blew them up or not. But anyway, that is a discussion for another day.
Yeah, I mean, in this particular picture, it looks like someone is reloading their rifle. Is that a rifle or is it a pistol?
It looks like a dustbuster.
It looks like a railgun.
Yeah, I'd say it's some kind of energy weapon. This is.
And
Yeah,
the thing
but
they're holding looks like a thermal detonator. Or I'll be watching too much Mandalorian.
I think it's.
everyone's been watching too much Mandalorian.
I
But
think
that
it'll end
looks
up being
like he's
something like a
reloading
power
that.
core.
Is that
Yeah.
possible to watch too much Mando?
I mean, if it leads to your death, you could probably say, like, if you were watching so much Mandalorian that you forgot to eat and sleep and then you died, they could probably say, you know, at your funeral, they might say, "Here lies Ben. He probably watched a bit too much Mandalorian."
As opposed to beneath this sod lies another. I know I've used that joke a few weeks ago, but it's such a good one.
Can I draw attention to the access number level thing above the shield? There's a little number 3, and on the disambiguation thread about the HUD, they said it was your security access level. What do we think this is? This is really exciting. I hadn't really heard anything about this. What is the security access level? How do you raise yours? What ramifications does it have? Yada yada yada. Do we think it's a function of your BGS? Do we think it's a function of your BGS friendliness with the faction that control that system, perhaps?
No,
maybe you haven't created a red card yet.
I was going to say my gut call is like the Quake, a bit like Quake, where you go and get your different key cards. Yeah.
Well,
So
I
it's-
don't know. I think it would be more useful for, considering if you are you're allied with the power that owns this base. That means you've got access level 1, which gives you full access to the base.
Absolutely.
But if you're
I
only
think that would be
cordial,
good.
then you get level 3.
I think that would be brilliant. That would be absolutely perfect. Because imagine how much meaning that would give to the BGS friendliness stats. Imagine how much more sort of human context that would give to the stat of being allied or friendly or cordial or whatever. It would be very, very cool.
I like that idea, but if we do that, then I think you also want some way to hack access levels as well. So if you're not all pally with them, you can hack your way into the system and get access.
Oh, I think you'll have full access to wander wherever you like. The problem is if you've got access level 3 and you wander into a 2 or a 1, that's it. You're wanted. If someone finds you, you're wanted and you're in trouble.
Well, I'm thinking keycards to let you in, but maybe one thing that I've noticed actually, and I don't think I've seen any explanations about this, is so you see where we've got the green cross and the shields and your health and things like that.
Yep.
It looks like there's a little bit of a waveform going on there as well.
That's true. It does. I think
But
that's
you're a Dyson scanner.
I think that's actually that's a good point. There is a salvaging aspect. There could be a waveform aspect. I've got to say, just on a general comment, I think this HUD is brilliant. I think Frontier have always been very, very good at HUDs and UI, and I think that this HUD is really, really very good indeed. Like every single bit of it is useful. There's very, very little which is just stylistic. So what you say about the waveform, you're right. It would be unusual if it was just aesthetic. Like it wouldn't surprise me at all if it was if there was a bit of a hot or colder mechanism at play with finding salvage stuff.
It might be a wish list thing, but what if that waveform is a different mode? So you can have, if you like, an infrared mode, because you know how you have night vision on ships. So I'm wondering if that waveform could be something a bit deeper than just visual spectrum.
Could be.
Yeah,
It
mean,
does.
Kai is putting in a suggestion about it being a HUD.
I don't know why it doesn't. That would be purely a visual flourish, though. I don't think the heartbeat has any, unless the heartbeat is linked to your stamina levels, like it is in Star Citizen, in which your the indicator could demonstrate how much more stamina you have for sprinting and things potentially. Although I can't see them doing it just because, if that makes sense.
Light B signal. No? Two people to sleep. Okay. So the other thing that does look interesting, I think the gun could well be a railgun from what we've seen. But also
in the particular one in this picture.
Yeah, I think
in the
probably
first
is
picture, yeah.
I think that probably is a railgun. I'm looking at what's on the Twitch stream at the moment, not in the show notes. The other thing of interest, is the design, the internal design, because it very much looks like an IKEA outpost, doesn't it? Where it's blocks of textures and models put together. And I'm wondering whether or not that's procedurally generated.
Well, I mean, it must be. I think that the way that the proc gen of the bases will work is that it'll be a bit like Warframe, where they have tile sets encompassing rooms and corridors, and the proc gen system will draw elements from the tile sets depending on informed by the system state and prosperity and those sort of things to populate the outposts and the settlements. So, for example, if you're on the frontier and it's a low income settlement, then the system has a population of 3,000 or something, then it'll pluck it'll pluck a few small bits from its settlement building tile set, maybe of a couple of rooms in a shabby looking corridor or something.
It's quite interesting. We've gone into a zoom of that of that small piece of the HUD. I have noticed that there does seem to be what looks like a chat icon there, as well as a blue circle. But also, if you look behind at the orange panel, it says "Do not attack. Additional load," which makes me speculate about what the heck. There might be something important about these orange panels.
I think it's just texture. I think it's just filler. I don't think in it. It doesn't look particularly destructible.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a hell of an interesting mechanic if it were, though. Or at least potentially interesting. Yeah, if those orange ones were load-bearing. But, well, these are things we'll see when we see, I guess.
Yeah, it will be one
I
of those,
love the
yeah.
gloves. I mean, you can see, like, it looks to me like the gloves and things like that. You've got, they're almost like finger sensitive or something like that, so you can read your fingerprints through it or something. Like you got a little orange bit around your trigger finger, and your thumb actually, or it could just be style. I don't know. But I think the thing that has me most excited about the UI is how prevalent the gravity and the temperature. And
I'm really
makes
excited
me
by that.
think they're going to be core mechanics that we need to deal with, and I'm almost more excited to see how we handle the high G stuff over the low G stuff.
Oh, I'm so excited! I so hope that is the case. I so hope that those things have an impact on gameplay. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so good.
Right. Well, I've gone and asked the Norman to move the image, and this is the first one that we've seen in the actual breakdown. And up ahead, you can see how other commanders will, well, in this case, an enemy commander will actually be shown towards you. So obviously, we've got here the character information, which will include the name, their health and shields, their rank in criminality, the authority level of the current settlement, and the relationship to the player, which in this case is an enemy, and you can tell that because the reticule for whatever gun they're using there is right over his back. So I mean, go on, Shan.
Can I say how realistic it is? I mean, everyone walks around with bright red letters above their name when they're trying to hide, don't they?
Oh, I thought it was realistic because you always like shooting people in the back.
No. I am the world's worst FPS player. I have the aim of a stormtrooper in this, so if I hit anything, I'm lucky. But I was just talking about the stealth mechanic. I really hope that red text is toggleable by the person who has the red text.
I think it comes up when your reticule is on a target. I think it's context sensitive bit of the HUD. So if you move your reticule over a target, you'll see their commander tag above them.
Yeah, but then can't you just move it around and just see where the red text pops up?
I mean, you can see
That's
up ahead.
Yes, but by then you'll be dead.
You can also see by the door they've got a number 2. So obviously that is whoever is in access level 2, and also in the radar this time the person that's right ahead of you is basically a red triangle. So that's mimicking what's in the in the ship
this
scanner.
says Cmdr, so this is a player. It's
No,
not
it's a human. It's a hollow triangle too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's just. Some people are saying they're red because they're a human with their guns out. Some people, I think it's probably red because earlier when they were filming this or taking the screenshots, they shot the guy. So
He's
they
got-
just got hostile.
He's got the justice symbol next to his name, so it does look like he's
Yeah.
he's wanted at least locally.
Yeah, but then so are you.
Yeah, so
I think it would fit.
It could be that you're both storming the base, and therefore you're both wanted.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
I think it makes sense to have, if you have your guns out, you're a triangle, and if you have it drawn, you're a square, because that's just what the rest of the game is like.
I agree.
Yep.
Right. You'll also notice that they've highlighted the ammo, and is that grenades? Yeah, it looks like grenades underneath. So whatever this gun does, it shoots, and it can launch grenades at things as well.
And notice how these grenades have got like a little star. Sorry, we're doing what we said we weren't going to do. They've got a little star next to it, so it's other grenades have other types of symbols. So this is like maybe a shock grenade or something like that.
It's got a little electricity bolt, so it looks like it might be like a flash or something. Yeah, maybe an EMP or a flash or something like that.
No, I mean, there's the thought: EMP wiping out all your shields and some of your protection as well.
I don't want them to be called grenades. I want them to be called thermal detonators.
One thing Ventura mentioned in chat is that in the bottom left, above the presumably jetpack symbol, you've got your little chat boxes, and then next to that there's a blue circle. What do we think that is? Do we think that's Mike Live or something like that?
That would be my suspicion.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, okay.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, when we're playing Star Wars Squadrons, the first thing we do is switch off the squadron chat and just carry on in Discord.
Yeah, exactly.
Criminally dangerous, isn't it?
Since 2016, any game having its own in-game chat box seems a bit quaint, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I did notice in this one, across the top, obviously, you've got what looks like the compass with a whole load of additional navigation details. So you've got the temperature, which is apparently in Kelvin.
I like that.
Yeah, you got the gravity, which in this case is 0.6. Now, this is one thing that I am a bit concerned about is the gravity, because obviously you're going to run around in 0.6 is going to be different from running around in 1G. I'm okay with the low gravity stuff. I'm just wondering whether or not they'll break the immersion if they go with gravity that's too high. But
Can you imagine firing a grenade in high gravity and it plonks at your feet?
Yes, I can. I think that'd be hilarious.
The Wile E. Coyote grenade. I mean, the HUD continues because it's got a compass, and then it's got some really accurate latitude and longitude figures. A lot more accurate than what we're used to, isn't it?
No, they're the same resolution. They're the same number of digits.
Are they?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, maybe one more. Actually, thinking about it, I'm pretty sure there are three beyond the decimal point in ships, and it looks like there are 4 here. So yeah, maybe one order of magnitude more specific. The ones in ships are probably accurate to within about 100 yards. So having an extra order of magnitude would make sense, I think.
The interesting thing I have to think about is because you got the with the ship, you have your HUD that can hone you in on a location, within a couple of kilometers, really, or even smaller. I wonder if you select a destination on here, you will get like a little sat nav, for better words, a little direction arrow just to take you to it on here, or will you be forever looking up at the coordinates and trying to work out how far away you are?
Well, that's the thing. If you couple the latitude and longitude indicators with a hot cold thing on your shields, Although in this second screenshot, the shields are absolutely linear, unblemished. So it might not be that. But if you coupled a hot cold indicator with that, you could have a quite effective way and quite satisfying way to hone in on things. I've always thought that the pulse. The wave scanner on the SRV is a really, really good bit of video game thing finding. And I don't know, it annoys me why they didn't, or I don't really know why they didn't feel that they could add variants of the wave scanner to the full spectrum scanner, for example, because I think the wave scanner is better. And if they implemented something like the wave scanner for first person stuff, so that there was like a hot cold mechanism that you used as well as your bearing to find things, I think that would be really satisfying and really fun.
Other thing I'd noticed is that they haven't displayed a symbol for being in a wing or group. It's all solo at the moment, but they're showing us.
That is a good point. That is a really good point. Could any of these symbols mean wing? Could that little blue one that I mentioned as the mic symbol, could that possibly be one of the wing symbols that we see at the top of the screen when you're in a ship?
Well, usually you have the player name, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, here we've moved on to another picture which shows, I think, someone who has just been shot, because basically you now have an update of a 100 credit bounty gained for an assault on Neville. Poor Neville. It's always shooting a Neville.
Poor Neville. He was the best of us. He's got an interesting gun, has old Neville. Look at him. He's got it might be a shotgun, maybe?
Yeah, and you've got a pistol in this one.
Yeah, although you're not doing too badly by the looks of things.
No.
Something else that I'm really excited by, the weapons are all visible on your skeleton. Have you noticed that? When you've got your guns holstered, you've got your two-handed main weapon on your back, and you've got your sidearm actually visible on the avatar on the side. I love that in games.
Yeah.
Really, really like it.
I mean, I'm wondering whether or not this has a limit. Obviously, it's not going to. They're not going to do the same as Doom, where you could carry as many guns around with you as possible. It would be like Halo. You can choose one or maybe two guns.
Yeah, in Star Citizen, you can have a sidearm and a main weapon. I think actually you can have two main weapons. It wouldn't surprise me.
You can have two mains.
Yeah, so it wouldn't surprise me if Frontier go with a similar system.
So, what about other collectibles? What about grenades, for example, or an inventory space in general? I know we can't. Well, I'm talking about here. I mean, I know we haven't got any shots of inventory, but I think it's a good move to limit the amount of guns you can carry. But what about the rest of the stuff? Are we going to get pockets of holding for all the minerals we're going to be getting, or
I think there'll be pockets of holding for materials. I definitely think there'll be a bag of holding for your materials, but I think there'll be some kind of item economy for grenades and med pen equivalents or something like that.
Yeah. No, obviously, I must admit, I do like the look of that pistol.
It's really cool.
I think this commander is in trouble, although he's managed to get a shot off at Neville Lang. There does seem to be another soldier just around the corner, and normally when you're outnumbered 2-1, things don't go all that well.
It looks like if we work to the assumption that the person behind the camera is assaulting the base, I think these might be NPCs that they're shooting. Because if the player has gained a crime stat because they're assaulting the base, one, the icons on the HUD are just little red blips. They're not hollow, which indicates that if the same visual language is used for first person as it is for on foot as it is for spaceships, then that would indicate that they're NPCs. Also, if it's a base assault, you don't get players staffing bases, so it would also indicate that that who you're shooting at is NPCs, which is interesting because it means that the NPCs that we're going to see in Odyssey, the ones that are tasked with defending structures at least, look very similar to the players will.
I'm not sure about that gun design, Colin, and things like that. It reminds me when my kids were into Nerf guns, and it's that style.
You've never been at a Fantasticon Nerf gun fight, then?
Oh, I did. I was not sure if you remember, but I stole or borrowed my son's Nerf gun collection. One of which was the was the
Oh,
belt
wasn't that
head Nerf
the
gun.
belt? That was yours, was it?
It was, yeah.
Yes.
I lent it to Kate, but yeah, it was it because it is great. It kept people's heads down, but then it took about 5 minutes to reload, so it wasn't terribly good in combat. But anyway, yes, the
Yeah.
guns here remind me of Nerf guns.
Well, I'm sorry, but going back to that Fantasticon thing, because I know that I saw a couple of commanders with that gun. I think Dan and Kate in particular, and as soon as they got hold of it, they were walking around as if they were blooming the Terminator. It was.
I know, it was great, wasn't it?
Or Cyberpunk with an extension.
That gun was mine. I brought it along.
Right, so I got you to blame. But moving back to moving back to this, so you're not impressed with? Oh, we've got what looks like. Does that look like a power outlet to you? And then
maybe a charging outlet.
It looks like something R2D2 would plug into, doesn't it?
I was just thinking that, Shan, and then probably get electrocuted because that's in the middle of what looks like an airlock, basically.
It looks like an adjoining thing. Actually, there's two soldiers there.
Pictures here.
Yeah, we'll be going back to the new one in a minute.
I'm not sure about that area being an airlock because it's a strange design. It looks like the when in Stargate SG-1 they used to have like a ring gate that came down and scooped people up.
Yeah.
I think it's an
about
access gate between access levels. I think.
Yeah, but there's definitely shields going on that look like the air holding in things that we've got going through the tow track.
Yeah, that's true.
I think you're right though. I think maybe that point is an access point, and because what you've got is you look to have a shield, the blue ring, because that's the same sort of look as the space station docking shield, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that's blue, and the port on the side is blue. So I wonder if that's like an access gate. So when you put your key card against it, it drops the shield, and you can then go through.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Unfortunately, to me, I'm just looking at this section, and to me, it kind of looks like the middle of a bendy bus.
I can see that.
Yeah, it does. Maybe this gunfight is actually taking place on a bendy bus.
Yeah, the entire base is on wheels, and they're just turning a corner.
I think bendy bus is confirmed, actually.
Yeah, Commander Ventura's made the useful suggestion that maybe it's just a door button.
I mean, that does sound a lot better than our suggestions.
Actually, yeah, that makes it.
Yeah.
Battle on the bendy bus. I don't know.
That sounds quite amusing.
Looking at that overall the larger picture, though, doesn't that look like they're big doors that could basically slam shut?
What, a blast door? Open the blast door. Open
Yeah.
the blast door.
Doesn't that look like you got blast doors on the side? At the front of the image.
Actually, yeah, now that you point it out, it does.
Yeah,
look
it could be that it spins, and it's a door that forms by spinning, if that makes sense.
Like random round it goes. Where you end up, no one knows, that sort of thing.
Yeah, like sort of, the round bit spins a quarter of a full rotation to close.
It looks to me like these doors basically, I would imagine they'd basically both swooshy shut, if in Star Trek terms, but they just, instead of swooshing in a straight line, they're swooshing in a curve.
Yeah.
If you think about
I hate to say it, those doors don't look like swooshy doors to me. Those look like I'm going to cut you in half when I clang together.
No, yeah, but it's still
doors.
Yeah, sort of doors where you want to get hold of someone's head and hang them over and tell us where the gold is, or shut the door. I don't think it does turn around because it's actually one of the world's worst turntables if it is, because you've got about 4 steps before you get to the next bit. I'm thinking potentially it's that interlink between the modules, because if you think the bases could be modules, what this could be here is the bit that joins them together. And I know that we had a joke about the bendy bus, but it could well be the bendy bus or the bendy building bit.
Also, another observation: if you are fighting NPCs there, it looks like the NPCs are all individually named, like they are in space.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, I do like that.
I think it's really cool. As opposed to something like Skyrim, where you've got named people and then just guard 1, guard 2. I like the idea that every single NPC you see will have their own name and presumably their own affiliation.
I wonder if
I
they
used
walk
to be a-
past and go, yeah, go on, Colin, you say it. Same joke.
Yeah, I used to be a commander like you, and then I took an arrow in the Cobra.
And then I took accelerated plasma to the knee.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be quite funny if they put that in.
Yeah, just as a random bark. When you walk past an NPC guard, they just say that.
Yeah, but they've got to say it in a kind of Swedish accent.
And then I took accelerated plasma to the knee.
And yeah, we finally moved to the outside here, and yes, this is basically what looks like a fight in the courtyard. And I must admit, it's nice to have a look, outside of corridors, and you can see that there's an anaconda in the background. And my God, that anaconda looks huge.
Why isn't it squishing the people?
It's not on the people.
Because you're not piloting it. I'm just, even though it's far off in the background, the size of that ship really, it's really impressive.
large.
It looks it's like got a docking port open as well.
That's the landing gear, I believe.
I mean, this does raise some questions about how on earth they're going to balance this.
How?
Well, I don't, because there's no way that a human running around on foot is going to be able to damage an anaconda. Well, the anaconda.
Of course not. But the anaconda won't be able to fulfill some of the objectives. The way you balance it is that the anaconda is the big guns, and of course, players or NPCs with personal weapons won't be able to damage it. But to fulfill the objective for the mission, you will have to disembark and go somewhere and do something on foot. Hold F next to something.
And are players going to worry about that when they just want to blow up everyone on foot or squish them or otherwise make their lives miserable by dropping things on them from ships?
Well, they might do, but the galaxy's a big place. For base assault missions at the moment, I can't complete them unless I get out and not base assault.
Well, let's say there's a CG. There's a CG to do stuff on foot, for example. And I get the point about you need to do the CG, you need to go inside and, I don't know, carry crates out or something. But for griefers and people like that, this is going to be turkey chew, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, griefers and people like that, Shan.
The base does have anti-aircraft guns. If you were a griefer and you wanted to take out players, if there was a CG where you had to scamper about Astor's Hope 2 on foot, moving boxes around, for example, and you were a griefer and you wanted to shit on those people's day, then yes, you could. But that base has some pretty chonky anti-aircraft guns. I imagine that you would be blown out the sky pretty quickly. And depending on the security rating of the system, hopefully some of the boys in blue would fly in and make your life difficult as well.
Possibly, but anything they've got on here, you can shut down. I mean, because do you remember skimmer missions when they were a thing? Because they all had the turrets and the stuff and the protection and stuff as well, but they didn't matter because you'd sit at 2 or 3 kilometers and out, unleash a whole load of dumbfire missiles, and the splash damage would just take out the power plant and just do the lot.
Yeah, I don't know. If I was at Frontier and a player said to me, "Hey, I was trying to do this thing," and then a load of griefers came along and they shot at me from orbit, and then one of them disembarked and shut down the base's defense array so it couldn't shoot back at the ships, and then they just wiped the floor with us, I'd probably just think, do you know what? That actually sounds like it's working as intended. That sounds like players making use of the complex systems we put in place.
It does, but I guess it depends on what that action is interfering with. If it's a CG, then I can see that being quite a source of salt. But again,
right. Well, I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to cut this one off with one final question. Commander Ascorbius has put in a question saying, "Any ideas if the populations will mix between Odysseys and Horizons? Will you be able to see Odyssey people on the ground with Horizons?" Personally, I think not.
Okay, I'm
What
going
do
the
you
other
guys
direction
think?
and I'll explain why.
Oh, okay.
I think we will. So let's say, sake of argument, you've got Horizons and I've got Odyssey. I think you and I will be able to see each other. You know, if you're flying in your ship and you land at the base, I'll be able to see you come in and land. I think as well you'll be able to see me walking around.
Obviously, I think only if it was on an airless world, because I got a feeling that atmosphere worlds are going to be
On the assumption
Odyssey
we're on the
only.
same, we're in the same location.
hmm
But if we're at the same location and I'm walking around, I think you'll be able to see me. Same idea as if you're in your SRV, you'll be able to see me walking around. And the reason why I think that is before we had the Horizons amalgamation, when we were all flying around in space, Horizons commanders could fly up and do anything they wanted to base game commanders, just that the base game commanders couldn't make it down to the planets.
Yeah.
You know, I think the only difference is you ain't going to be able to get out of your ship and walk around, or you ain't going to be able to land on semi-atmosphere worlds.
Yeah. But you think you will be able to land or run over commanders as a Horizon player?
If you'll be able to on an airless world where Horizons do. If I'm walking around in Odyssey, you have free right to run over me or squish me in your anaconda or whatever. You know, well, there's no such thing as a base game, but even as a Horizons owner, you can squash me walking around. I don't see why not.
Yeah. I mean, I'm making the assumption that we can walk around in our spacesuits on airless worlds.
I'm assuming that as well.
Yeah, so it would be a bit rubbish if you could only walk around in atmospheric worlds.
Yes.
So yeah, but you might not find what you need to around the airless worlds, though. They'll have some kind of mechanic to make sure that you get the best of walking around on these planets.
I wouldn't be surprised, or at least there'll be unique materials to these planets. That wouldn't surprise me whatsoever.
Yeah. Anyway, right. Well,
I agree with Scorb. It'll be absolutely crap if you can't.
Yes, I think everybody will agree with that. So we're going to draw this to a close, and we will.
And Kai's saying we can. Frontier have confirmed we can apparently go.
Oh right. Well, in that case, hunky dory, everybody. Right, huzzah! So we're going to bring this to a close and move on to our community corner section. First up is the Apollo 15 anniversary expedition. So Commander Yannick is arranging the Apollo 15 50th anniversary expedition from the 10th to the 30th of July in 3307. So we're giving you plenty of notice. This expedition is the successor to the Apollo 11 anniversary, where 670 commanders celebrated the Apollo 11 moon landing's 50 years to the moment after the Eagle touched down on the Sea of Tranquility. AX-11 remains the most successful player-based organized event in the history of Elite Dangerous after Distant Worlds and Distant
A11X,
Worlds
not AX11.
A11X, yeah, okay. So if you're looking for an Apollo-themed expedition in July, add this one to your diaries. It starts at T Tarau. Tarawi? T Tori, right? Hind Mind / Hind Nebula. And for goodness sake, how can you have this a blooming system name beginning with a Q without the U?
I know.
I swear they put this in because they know I won't pronounce it.
I'll go with Quijo CZ-N.
Quijo, right, there you go. Otherwise known as David and Goliath. You can sign up for this at EDSM. So pop over to that website if you want to. Now, there's also this other thing called the lensing effect, which is featured work from elite videographers. Ben, would you like to talk about this one?
So there's not a heck of a lot to say about it. Watch it. It's a lovely video that Commander Eagle 131 did, and it goes off and highlights a load of videos a load of footage taken by Exorcist. God, I'm turning into Colin now. Orange Phoenix from SPVFA, Commander Rini, obviously from the Burr Pit, and Zero Axis. Loads and loads of lovely pictures, screenshots, put together very nicely. It's a nice chill video. Watch it.
Mm-hmm. Right. Now, in review of last week, I'm going to make sure that I get this one completely right. Distance Screws 2, the expedition for Evelyn. Now, the Loose Screws community are heading out into the black once again to reach Evelyn's light. We will discover what the young scientist has left for us to discover in the deep reaches of space. Now, the background to this is in the August of 2018. Evelyn was a girl hiking up the mountain with a family and then complained of a sore side when she got home. It turned out that she was diagnosed with a tumour the size of a grapefruit in her abdomen. And thus began Evelyn's and her family's fight against cancer that would last 1.5 years. Unfortunately, that battle didn't go well, and as of February 26, 2020, she ascended to the stars. Now, hospital treatments to address the disease, radiation, chemo, stem cell transplants, and surgery did not weigh her down, and she continued to read, play video games, and show interest in science, design, fashion, comedy, Wookiees, and the stars. While she slept beside her mother, her father spent long nights in Elite with a new group of comrades, some of knew of his pain, and some of who were willing to share their own, all of which played the game. So our thanks go out to the Loose Screws Frontier and Drew Wagar for showing their support. Now, this expedition will depart on January the 8th, 3307 from Ross 310 and arrive in Evelyn's Light in the Kwama system on February the 26th, 3307. If you want to sign up for this expedition is available on EDSM. And yes, anybody who would like to show support for Evelyn and her father, feel free for joining up with that one. So I'm going to move on to any other business. Now, does anybody have any other business?
No.
We talk about Christmas and stuff. What the current plans are.
Right. Well, the current plans about Christmas at the moment is that technically this is Ben's last show of the year because of real life TM. And depending on what's going to happen on Thursday is that we will be looking at doing a show for the following Tuesday, depending on how much is revealed, where we'll be going in depth on it. If it turns out that it just turns out to be a fun stream that doesn't have any juicy details, then of course we will be leaving that one alone. But I got a sneaking suspicion there might be something interesting in there. So that's our plan. The next Lave Radio after that, we're planning to be on the 5th of January. So we're going to be taking time off for Christmas and New Year. So yay us. Now, Ben, did you want to mention something about Cyberpunk?
Right, I'm going to quickly mention the Dark Wheel, and tomorrow they're going to land one job LFT 509.
All right.
So that's a good thing for them, I guess. Getting there, they're getting there.
They're getting there.
Getting to LFT 509 is going to be damn interesting. And I actually think Shan's possibly the best person to talk Cyberpunk because he's obviously been playing this. But I read a very interesting article before Cyberpunk was available to everybody, was that there were certain scenes in it which are almost triggered to trigger epilepsy. So last week it would have been relevant for me to say, anyone with epilepsy, be careful out there. This week, hopefully you either know or you've been careful and you managed to avoid it.
Or the bugs have made sure that it doesn't happen.
Or possibly that, or the frame rate, or if you're playing on a console, the potato quality.
Yes. Well, yeah. I'll be shifting over to that. Yeah, go on.
And you're being asked to say TDW, apparently, Colin.
TDW?
TDW.
Why?
Was that the dark? Oh, it's the dark wheel, isn't it? Have another drink. Go on, Car. You're going your way through that bottle of beer. Anyway, In other news, for those of you who do like a bit of Star Wars action, you will know that the B-Wing and the TIE Defender came to Star Wars Squadrons last weekend. Me, Ben, and a friend of ours gave this a test on Monday. And what was your reaction, Ben? Was it?
I really loved flying the B-Wing. I mean, the B-Wings... The Snowspeeder is my favourite ship in the game. Well, it's my favourite ship in Star Wars. And the B-Wing is my second favourite ship in Star Wars.
The Snowspeeder is an airspeeder, not a spaceship.
I don't care. I love it. Piss off. Still the best shipping game. And I loved just flying that thing, spinning myself around, but not actually spinning myself out. The only downside was there was some times when I'm like, I deliberately put myself into a horizontal position to then skim across the right near the hull of the
Star Destroyer, yeah.
The Star Destroyer, and then I go off and veer off and accidentally go off. And, if I was in a real ship, I'd probably turn around and basically smack the tip of my ship into the Star Destroyer because I've got it rotated that way, not the other way. But apart from that, we don't worry about that.
No,
it was a lot of fun flying it. I love how in Star Wars Squadrons there's a massive beam weapon, and I love how they've done it so that when you fire that great big chuffing beam at things, it collates 3 smaller beams from the tips of your wings into the middle, and then it zaps that middle thing into your target, just like the B-Wing did in, I want to say Star Wars Rebels.
It was Rebels.
B-Wing did that in Rebels, and I was like, oh, so good.
Okay.
And I love that.
Go. I've gone and unleashed Ben. We're out of time, so I am going to have to quickly do the shout-outs. Our first shout out is, of course, to our sister station, Hutton Orbital Radio. That broadcasts on a Thursday at 8:30. You can tune in at twitch.tv, Hutton Orbital Truckers, or if you just want the audio, go to radio.forthemug.com. For the discerning commander who likes a bit of CQC action, check out the CQC Discord at the discord.me/Elite Dangerous CQC. For those of you who want a literary discussion about sci-fi, fantasies, and books, please subscribe to the Data Slate podcast, or created by Station Commander Alan Stroud. It's also available at the Lave Radio website if you want to have a listen. We also have a Galactic Digest news following this, as provided by the most excellent Commander Witherspoon, probably with Commander Beetle Jude making a guest appearance as well. So I'd just like to thank everybody who's chipped in on the various chats. And Ben, have we had any in-game commanders buzz you?
Yeah, I've been flying about with Miggles, and I also saw a Goose 4291 earlier as well.
Oh, well, 07 to you, commanders. Well, but that is it for another episode of Lave Radio. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, quickly.
Ed, so no one's blown you up?
No.
Failed. Anyway. Sorry, Colin.
Yeah, but Shan, you haven't offered any incentive.
Shan, you know where I've been all night long.
I've done a radio show and I haven't. Yeah, I can't attack.
Where have I been? I've been on a radio show.
Right. Gentlemen, take this outside the show. I'm going to finish this off now. Right. That's it for another episode of Lave Radio. Seriously, that's it. I don't want any more interruptions. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, you can email at info@laveradio.com. Hit us up at facebook.com/laveradio. Tweet us at laveradio. You can join our Discord server by going to discord.io/laveradio. We also have a TeamSpeak server where commanders come to hang out and chat, and you can find that at teamspeak.laveradio.com. Do get in touch if you have any questions or if there's anything you'd like us to discuss in a future episode. Lave Radio is recorded live on a Tuesday evening at 8:30 and streamed out at laveradio.com. laveradio.com/live. So thanks to Shan, thanks to Ben, thanks to Souverine, and of course, special thanks to today's tech specialist, Commander Ventura. But until next time, commanders, fly safe. And if you can't do that, fly dangerous.
safe word.
Space can be loaded.
I'm going to see the galaxy.
Ah, damn it. No worries, guys. Hold the fort for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
According to scientists, Uranus is full of methane gas.
I think you're right, though, Colin.
What have you done with Shan, and when can we have him back?
Galnet News Digest, 15th of December, 3306. We read the news so you don't have to.
In this week's news roundup, probing planets is a piece of child's play.
Getting paid for just turning up.
The clashing rocks.
Rackham's restaurant and a home for moralists.
The suitors of Penelope.
Probing planets is a piece of child's play.
After initial concern that the super-engineered detailed surface scanners hadn't turned up on time, commanders who earned one of these scanners are said to be delighted at their efficacy and ease of use. Not knowing their pi from their r squared, there was an initial confusion about what twice the normal probe coverage actually meant, but it turns out that it meant twice the basic radius, which gives a 50% increase to the scan radius, which, if you multiply the radius by itself and by pi, means that each probe from a fully engineered detailed surface scanner covers 2¼ times the surface area compared to an unengineered DSS. But using the special Sirius Atmospherics DSS, you get 100% increase to the basic scan radius, which means each probe covers exactly 4 times the surface area of the basic common or garden probe, or 1¾ more area than a fully engineered one, which is an awful lot more surface area. In practical terms, this means that with a fully engineered DSS, you can fully scan a planet that has a target of 6 probes using just 4 probes. But with the Sirius Atmospherics DSS, you can scan that 6-probe planet using 2. So, these lucky explorers will have plenty of probes left over for when they get home. Getting paid for just turning up.
Commanders who didn't turn up for duty on Sunday will be disappointed to learn that they missed out on a free Christmas allocation of arcs. The 100 arcs, which is roughly the equivalent of 4 old Earth pennies, just required a bottom on a pilot's chair. And if the same bottom can continue to at least briefly occupy the same or a similar chair each day up to and including the 25th of December, with an increasing number of arcs allocated for subsequent days, there's a strong likelihood that there will be around 5,000 arcs in all up for grabs. And that's just for turning up. In addition, there's another of the infamous Twitch Drops Holovid streams on Thursday the 17th of December, during which you have to solve a puzzle, a bit like defusing a bomb, to link various accounts together. And then you just need to settle back and watch the antics of the Pilots Federation communication team, and occasionally click a button to claim a prize, which is expected to be paint related. Isn't it exciting? The Clashing Rocks.
The regular as clockwork clashing moons of Sinew FEWH-F-CO have done it again. Every 8 days and 1 hour, there's a very quiet smashing together of moons A1 and A2, as one of them catches up with the other, passes through it, and they proceed on their way. As they are landable planets, some immensely close-up views of two huge slabs of rock sliding quietly through each other, in the way that huge slabs of rock normally don't, are possible, if one is willing to accept the not inconsiderable risk that one might lose one's sense of perspective and orientation, and the equally great risk of ending up flying around inside one or two moons, which can inflict some superficial damage to the paintwork. The 21st and 29th of December are the next days on which commanders can see this incredible sight, just before their ship explodes in a novel and exciting way. Rackham's Restaurant and a home for Marlinists.
In other news this week, Zachary Rackham plans to open a new restaurant and bar in an outpost in the almost impossibly distant and hard to get to HIP 58832 system. Anyone who wants to be there for the grand opening ceremony is advised to hop on board a fleet carrier, which may be the only practical way to reach this extremely distant star. And the Sirius Corporation has stepped in to help the Federation and Empire settle their differences over the Marlinist refugee crisis by building 10 new settlements for the Republican dissidents who fled Imperial space in the face of persecution and whose presence is now causing civil unrest in the Federation. Marlinists are not thought to be the same as the Neo-Marlinist terror group, which has so far assassinated Prince Harold Duval, Baron Cesare Levigny, and a number of lesser figures within Imperial society, and has bombed 4 Imperial and 1 Federal starport. Marlinist leaders have condemned these acts of violence and are said to be delighted at the prospect of setting up home in independent space.
The Suitors of Penelope. IDK how anyone can be excited about what was essentially 60 seconds of half-recycled B-roll and maybe 15 seconds of overly busy, incoherent Call of Duty shooting footage.
Only 15 seconds of that was actual gameplay. The rest was just dramatic angles, definitely not gameplay. We both know what gameplay means, don't we? And you're purposefully moving the goalpost.
OK, that was a really poor showing. Every single scene has pretty much been shown before. Are Frontier in trouble? The gameplay was not inspiring in the slightest. Why would you do this at all in Elite? So, my growing impression is that the entire headline of Odyssey will be a complete flop. However, the side features of the new planets and being able to walk up to a mission terminal to access current space content will be a hit. Just like Passengers, second biggest letdown in Elite history. But as a bonus, we got the Beluga /sigh. After so long with nothing, the growing impression is Odyssey better be good, but is showing to be a standard Frontier haphazard let's see what sticks release. P.S. OK, I'm a bit uncultured, but lucky my partner was around. She goes, "Oh, you playing David Bowie?" I went, "I thought it was the Beatles." Either way, both are nothing to do with what I personally consider the soundtrack to space.
Quick! We have all the mooners cornered in one place. Get this thread into the airlock and eject it as soon as possible. And that's this week's Galnet News.
And now, it's time to leave the capsule, if you dare. This is Planet Earth to Major Tom. You've really made the grade. And the papers want to know whose shirts you wear. Now it's time to leave the capsule if you dare.
Night.